We've got to talk about Meghan Markle.
I remember when she was born, big new addition to the family, and we just have a very young sister here.
Megyn Kelly has weighed in on Meghan Markle's failed plan.
She's absolutely ruthless.
Meghan Markle preaches authenticity, but insiders claim her entire age is a cover-up. She tells the world she's 44, yet alumni photos suggest she's pushing 50. The Duchess, who built an empire on image, may have built it on edits instead. And now Megyn Kelly just ripped open the rumor so brutally, it refuses to die.
There's nothing original here.
I hope you're having the best birthday you've ever had. Thank you for everything.
Which is really such a fake.
It wasn't a birthday wish, it was a bomb. When Megyn Kelly looked straight into the camera and asked whether Meghan Markle's age was real, she wasn't just speculating, she was detonating a question that had been simmering for decades. Reports suggest Kelly's jab wasn't random. She was highlighting a contradiction so glaring, it cuts through Meghan's entire brand. The modern Duchess might not even be the age she claims. And once that seed is planted, it reshapes everything.
When she was younger,
Hi, Maddie. I got an English award.
100% a bully brat.
From Meghan's Hollywood hustle to her royal fairy tale. Because if the foundation of her biography doesn't add up, what else has been edited along the way? That's the hook, and Meghan knows it, but this isn't gossip pulled from thin air. It starts with a single photo. Northwestern University, early 2000s, a salsa club group shot full of smiling faces. At first glance, it's innocent nostalgia, but pull up the names in 2025 and something feels off.
Meghan Markle's not an idiot.
I just made a little mark on my board and said, oh, there's another lie, click.
Yeah, she had a very clear idea of where she wanted her path to take her.
Most of the people in that photo were born in the early 1970s, meaning they're now in their early 50s. And there, standing in the back row, is Meghan Markle, supposedly born in 1981. On paper, she should have been years younger. In reality, she blended in seamlessly with a group nearly a decade older. Insiders claim this isn't coincidence, it's evidence, a timeline mismatch hiding in plain sight. And here's where it snowballs. One suspicious photo could be brushed off as a fluke. But Meghan's history is littered with similar gaps. Classmates who don't align, alumni records that don't match, birth certificates that mysteriously change.
Meghan Markle has nothing.
Someday Meghan's going to realize that she's obviously missing out.
I think when I was 30, if I thought about 50, I thought that is an awful long way away. And I don't really need to think about it. And then I blinked and I'm 50. That's crazy.
Word is, palace staff noticed the same inconsistencies when she married into the monarchy. But unlike Hollywood casting directors, Buckingham Palace doesn't ignore paperwork. Every altered document, every curated photo release, every coincidental timeline screw-up deepens the suspicion. The narrative stops looking like a fairy tale and starts looking like a cover-up. And with Meghan, the more you dig, the more it feels like missing chapters in a Netflix script, rewritten, reshot, and resold as fact. The public reaction was instant. Fans who once celebrated Meghan as a modern icon now flood TikTok with theories and memes. If she can edit her kid's birth certificate, one viral comment asked, what else has she edited? Another Reddit thread compared her age rumors to Hollywood actresses who shave years off to land roles. Except Meghan didn't just land roles, she landed a royal title. That irony is brutal. Because while actresses can manipulate a resume, royals are supposed to live by records.
That was her goal, #goal, to marry Prince Harry.
For the longest time, she wanted to be a dancer.
Meghan blurred the line, and critics say the monarchy never fully recovered. And that's why this rumor won't die. It's not just about numbers, it's about trust. And the trust is collapsing. When you line up the salsa club photo, the alumni chatter, and the amended documents, the cracks widen into chasms. Meghan's carefully staged empire suddenly looks fragile, stitched together with edits and illusions. And once you see the pieces, you can't unsee them. Which is why Megyn Kelly's grenade hit so hard. She didn't just mock Meghan, she forced the world to stare at the math. And the math doesn't sit right. The age rumor didn't just linger in corners of the internet, it went viral. TikTok edits of Meghan's 1981 birth year were spliced with the salsa club photo, captioned with sarcastic lines like, "Math is hard, isn't it?" Those clips racked up millions of views in days. On Twitter, memes comparing Meghan to Benjamin Button exploded, with fans joking she was aging backwards faster than Hollywood's CGI de-aging technology.
So before she met Harry, you had no doubt she was your sister?
My little sister, though, I said.
The narrative had escaped control. What Meghan once dismissed as gossip was now a global talking point, and the public wasn't laughing with her. They were laughing at her, and when the internet smells weakness, it doesn't let go. Insiders say Meghan's team scrambled. One source claimed her PR staff began monitoring alumni forums, flagging threads where her name popped up next to suspicious dates. The spin was predictable. Blame palace protocols, blame clerical errors, blame anything except Meghan herself. But critics weren't buying it. Media commentators like Piers Morgan seized the moment, calling the inconsistencies just another example of Meghan Markle playing Hollywood dress-up with the monarchy. Even neutral outlets began slipping subtle digs into coverage, noting how timeline confusion seemed to shadow Meghan at every turn. The harder her team tried to bury the conversation, the louder it echoed. And here's the domino effect.
August 4th, 40 years ago, Meghan was born, and she was born as a C-section, so she was put in my arms.
Once the rumor reignited, people began connecting dots far beyond her birth year. Old questions about Archie's edited birth certificate resurfaced. Photos from her early acting days, some missing, some reappearing conveniently, got re-examined with fresh suspicion. Even her 2011 Jamaican wedding to Trevor Engelson was suddenly back under the microscope, with critics wondering if the timeline of that marriage lined up with her official biography. Word is, rival journalists are now digging through public archives, hunting for every scrap of paperwork tied to Meghan's past. And the irony? The more Meghan insists on transparency, the more opaque her history appears. Fans who once saw her as a victim of royal cruelty now frame her as the architect of her own downfall. This isn't palace bullying, one viral YouTube commentator argued. This is Meghan being sloppy with her own receipts. The shift is brutal. Instead of defending her, many are now treating her as a case study in overbranding. A duchess who wanted to control every narrative but couldn't control the simplest thing of all, her own birthday. And in Hollywood terms, that's fatal, because if audiences can't trust the backstory, they stop believing the performance. And Meghan's brand has always been a performance. And here's the sting in the tail. This isn't just Meghan's problem anymore. Insiders say streaming platforms and publishers are quietly nervous. If her memoir, her Netflix specials, or her documentaries rely on a shaky timeline, they risk being discredited by the same memes currently dominating TikTok.
Well, that's her first wedding in Jamaica. That's one of my favorite pictures. I'd like to have that experience with my granddaughter.
In an industry built on authenticity, even the perception of dishonesty is poison. And Meghan, she's learning that once the internet decides you're lying, no amount of palace spin or Hollywood gloss can stitch your story back together. One rumor can be dismissed, one meme can be ignored, but receipts, those stick. And when Meghan Markle's own paper trail started shifting under scrutiny, the whispers about her age went from gossip to accusation. The most damning piece? Archie's birth certificate. When her son was born in 2019, the official record listed Meghan's full name, Rachel Megyn Markle. Completely normal, standard practice. But just weeks later, the certificate was amended. Her given names were gone, replaced with a sterile title, Her Royal Highness, the Duchess of Sussex. Who does that? Birth certificates aren't Instagram bios. They don't get aesthetic edits. And yet, Meghan's son's record was literally rewritten. Reports suggest it was done under palace protocols. Critics insist Meghan herself pushed the change. Either way, it shattered trust. If her child's document could be altered, what else might be flexible in Meghan's world? That question opened a floodgate. Old classmates and alumni records resurfaced, showing odd inconsistencies. Several supposed peers listed high school graduation dates nearly a decade earlier than Meghan's official timeline. One alumni chatter thread even claimed they remembered Meghan in events from the late 1980s, when she should have been in grade school.
I believe she had a clear motive for writing family off because it would seemingly justify and perhaps delay the revelation of all of the lies that she had told the royal family.
Sources say journalists have tracked at least 3 separate birth years tied to Meghan in various documents: 1975, 1979, and 1981. The official line remains 1981, but as critics point out, normal people don't have 3 birthdays floating around. The contradictions suggest intent, not error, a deliberate reshaping of time. And then there's the vanishing act. Meghan's early photos don't exist in the organic, messy sprawl most people have online. Instead, they appear in curated waves. Yearbook shots, salsa club candids, wedding photos, they resurface like clockwork when Megyn faces public backlash, almost as if someone behind the curtain chooses exactly which images to release and when. Insiders claim this selective rollout isn't random. It's a PR tactic, but to critics, it looks like control. Obsessive, insecure, and suspicious. A normal timeline is cluttered with awkward snapshots and unflattering memories. Megyn's feels edited, like a Hollywood production designed to sell a brand. The revelations pile higher when legal battles drag old receipts back into daylight. Samantha Markle's defamation case against Megyn sparked another round of scrutiny. Lawyers dug, headlines spread, and suddenly the age rumors were tied directly to her credibility in court. If Megyn would lie about her sister, critics asked, why wouldn't she lie about her age? The irony was devastating. Megyn's lawsuits, meant to silence detractors, only gave them megaphones. And each case added fresh legitimacy to whispers that had once lived only in obscure forms. Now, they're mainstream. The picture forming is brutal. A Duchess who carefully edits documents, curates photos, and allegedly shaves years off her life story. A woman who wants the world to believe in her fairy tale but leaves behind receipts that tell a different story. And once those receipts circulate, they're impossible to scrub. Megyn's brand isn't just dented, it's collapsing under the weight of her own edits. And the revelations are far from over, because every document, every missing photo, every contradictory year is another crack in a foundation built on illusion. Here's the nightmare scenario critics can't stop whispering about. What if Meghan Markle isn't just trimming a few years off her Hollywood resume? What if she actually fooled the monarchy? Hollywood age fudging is common. Stars have been lying about birthdays since the studio system. But Megyn didn't just chase casting directors. She married into an institution obsessed with bloodlines, records, and legitimacy. If her age really is off by 5 or 6 years, then Buckingham Palace wasn't just welcoming a new Duchess. They were welcoming a lie, and that transforms a personal vanity issue into a royal-level scandal. Because when history books are written, official birth years aren't supposed to be rumors. They're supposed to be fact. Insiders claim this is why palace staff were always uneasy about Megyn's background checks. Reports suggest that when discrepancies popped up, they were quietly smoothed over rather than addressed directly. Why? Because exposing the truth would have been catastrophic. Imagine the headlines. Royal family duped by American actress's fake biography. That's not just embarrassing, that's legacy destroying. The monarchy already weathered Princess Diana's battles, Prince Andrew's disgrace, and Harry's defection. A Duchess accused of rewriting her own life story would be another permanent stain on the crown. And so, critics argue, the palace looked the other way, hoping no one would do the math. But the math won't stay buried. Online sleuths dissect every new appearance, every resurfaced photo, every edited document. Fans compare her timeline to royal milestones, pointing out how certain official dates don't align with public events. One viral TikTok claimed Megyn shaved 6 years off her age to appear younger than Harry, a narrative that exploded on Reddit threads. If true, one user posted, it means she wasn't the fresh new face of the monarchy. She was playing catch-up. That brutal framing is now gaining traction, with Megyn painted not as a victim of palace cruelty, but as an actress staging her biggest role yet, Duchess of Deception. And here's the ripple effect. In Hollywood, reputation fuels money. Megyn's brand is built on authenticity, on being a modern royal who told the truth while the palace lied. But if she's exposed as someone who can't even be transparent about her own birthday, that entire narrative crumbles. Streaming platforms like Netflix, who reportedly paid millions for her projects, risk being tied to a brand collapsing under suspicion. Publishers eyeing future memoirs face the same problem. How do you sell authenticity when the receipts don't add up? Megyn's age scandal isn't just gossip anymore, it's a financial liability. The cultural context makes it even harsher. Hollywood has always punished women for aging, but royalty was supposed to be different. Megyn claimed to break barriers, to bring modern energy to the crown. But if she really lied about her age, she didn't challenge the system. She bent to it. Instead of fighting ageism, she allegedly embraced it, erasing years to sell herself as a fresher, younger Duchess. And that irony is devastating, because Megyn's brand was supposed to be about truth. Now it risks being remembered only as performance. Here's the brutal truth about rumors. Once they take root, they're nearly impossible to kill. And Meghan Markle has become the perfect case study. Every lawsuit, every carefully staged photo release, every edited document reopens the vault. Instead of silencing her critics, Meghan feeds them. It's a cycle she can't escape, because the moment she makes headlines, the internet digs again. The Salsa Club photo resurfaces, the alumni records get reposted, the whispers about Archie's birth certificate reignite. And the same question keeps echoing. If Meghan's age is this messy, what else has been rewritten? For fans, the fallout is emotional. Many feel duped. They defended her against palace bullying, only to discover a Duchess who might be guilty of her own manipulations. On TikTok, one viral comment summed it up. "We thought she was the victim. Turns out she might be the director of the whole play." That betrayal fuels the obsession, because people don't just mock her, they dissect her. Meghan has become a living puzzle box, with every inconsistency treated as another missing piece. And the more she dodges, the more determined the public becomes to solve her. For the industry, the fallout is financial. Netflix, Spotify, and publishers invested millions in Meghan and Harry's brand. But authenticity sells, and when that authenticity collapses, so does the money. Insiders suggest executives are already wary. The fear isn't just that Meghan's projects underperform, it's that they'll be mocked. Remembered not as groundbreaking royal confessions, but as case studies in overproduced fiction. Hollywood has long tolerated stars, shaving years off resumes. But when you marry into a monarchy and still play the same game, you risk dragging two worlds down together, the palace and the platform. And here's the cultural sting. Meghan wanted to be remembered as a barrier breaker, a woman who redefined royalty. Instead, the legacy taking shape is darker. The Duchess with the missing years, the woman whose age became her undoing. It's the kind of irony history loves. The champion of truth undone by the one lie she couldn't control. And whether she's 42, 46, or even older, the perception sticks. Meghan Markle has something to hide. In the age of viral receipts, that perception is fatal, because the internet doesn't wait for proof. It decides, it memes, and it moves on, leaving the subject branded forever. So what happens now? Maybe Meghan clears it up once and for all. Maybe the receipts get locked tighter. Either way, the scandal isn't fading. If anything, it's snowballing. From personal gossip to royal embarrassment to cultural cautionary tale, Meghan wanted a fairy tale ending. What she may get instead is a footnote in history about the dangers of building a brand on edits and illusions. And that's the fallout, not just the age rumors, but the trust they've destroyed. If Meghan Markle's alleged age edits can rewrite royal history, imagine what other secrets are waiting to explode. Don't miss it. Subscribe now, hit like, and check out our last breakdown on the bombshell claim that Meghan may have a secret daughter. Because when it comes to Meghan, the story never ends.